This is so the LSU thing is ugly and getting uglier, right? So the Brian Kelly's out at LSU, but the school's still dealing with the financial ramifications. Last week, Kelly's lawyer has informed LSU that he wants the school to fulfill its contractual obligations fully. So they were talking about a buyout of half the deal, and he's doubling back and saying, "No, I want all the money." Brian Kelly's lawyers made a legal filing yesterday, according to Dan Wetzel of ESPN, that states LSU is now trying to say it never formally terminated Kelly, and now they're trying to seek to fire him for cause. So they're coming back saying we're going to fire him for cause, and we're going to have to prove that. So Kelly's legal team is now asking for a declaratory judgment from a judge that will say LSU did fire him and that he's entitled to full liquidated damages, which means the entire contract.
Sure.
University with a brand new president, brand new AD have declined comment. So again, what are the solutions for this ridiculous, costly coaching buyout situation? Remember last week, Steve Sarkisian made the case for coaches, right?
Right.
When asked about it, like you got to pay your coaches. Essentially, I'll play a little bit of this Sark because Sark's going to advocate for coaches. Those are it's a fraternity, and it's a tough job. The bar of expectations never been higher as far as if you don't make the playoff, it's a bad season. And then the time to achieve that goal has never been shorter because if you don't do it, we're going to fire you. So Sark is accurate in that, in my opinion. And listen to Sark when asked about all of this, and he weighed in and defend coaches.
It's the staff and it's the players, and I get it. This is a lucrative industry that we're part of, and the TV deals and the college football playoff, and there's a lot going into it. Well, sometimes you got to pay the guy that's the one leading the ship and driving the ship. And again, I would have said that if I was an assistant coach right now.
All right, so you got to pay the guy. And if you sign a contract, that's what you signed him to. But a couple things on this. And I understand Sark that's from his perspective, and he's a coach. Coaches are going to advocate for coaches. And it is a difficult job. It's not easy. And now with the way the playoff is, if you don't make it or not even in contention, you might get fired. And it's more NFL that way that, only 14 teams in the NFL make the playoff. And if you don't make the playoffs enough years, you're going to get fired. And in this case, this is what the college football is becoming because it's a business. It used to be about developing young people, and every once in a while you beat your rivals, win your regional games, and then if you end up in a cool bowl game, everybody's happy. No. Now it's about the playoff.
Right.
But here's the thing, because I've heard people mention, well, the NFL doesn't sign these coaches to long-term deals, right? They don't sign the best coaches to 10, 12-year contracts. Well, that's because the NFL system, you can't just up and leave. If you try, remember, New Orleans Saints, Sean Payton retired, but they still owned his contract.
Right. That's why they had to give up picks for him.
Right. They had to trade. Yeah. If Denver wanted to hire Sean Payton, which was a smart move, they had to trade for him.
Right. They did.
That's the NFL model. The team still has contractual control of the coach, and so you have to trade for a really good coach, and you can't just up and go. Like coaches climb the ladder. Like Memphis' head coach Ryan Silverfield is about to take the Arkansas job. He's climbing the ladder, and all he has to do is cover the buyout.
Yep.
Memphis has no recourse to maintain a good coach. So now Memphis is going to be put in a spot where they got to go and get into this very crowded coaching search market to find a new coach.
Terrible time for that.
Terrible time. But they have no recourse to keep him from leaving other than these buyouts. So this is where the buyouts come from. And it occurs to me, and I have to give credit to Andy Staples of On3 Sports because he did something really smart. He has a podcast with Ari Wasserman that's very much listened to. And he told the story of a listener of his podcast who's an agent in Hollywood who actually does contracts for actors. And I started to think, that's exactly – because we have to shift the paradigm. You can't do it like the NFL because that's not possible. It's such a different hybrid model. And the coaches have the power because they have the pressure. The coaches don't deliver, they're going to get fired. So they want security, is what Sark was saying. And here's why I say it makes sense that Andy Staples, listener who's an agent for actors. So this is what this is. And you heard Sark say it's a very lucrative business. Well, who are the stars of these TV shows? It's the coach. The head coach is the lead actor.
Right.
In college football.
Because they're the ones that are only consistent, right?
They're not because it's a rotating job force.
Yeah,
it's a rotating
max
market force.
4 years of a kid, and that's a lot nowadays.
And to have a hit series on television or a hit movie, you need stars.
You do.
And you could say the same thing about head coaches. You're the face of the entire show.
You are.
And with that comes pressure, which is what you want security for. But I'm the one delivering the show. No one watches if we don't deliver, right?
Right.
And so the agent told Andy Staples that on 3 Sports that you need to, and he said this happened in television. What they used to do with television actors, if you would be okay with backloading money, because if the show was a hit and it proved itself, there'd be more money in that second go around for contracts because it's producing TV ratings. The actors wouldn't make a lot of money at the beginning, betting on themselves, but by the end they'd make a lot of money. And then of course if it went to syndication, everybody's getting rich,
right?
Because once it goes syndicated.
Yep.
Well, that all changed in the streaming era because now it's all TV shows for Netflix.
Right.
And Netflix will own that show lock, stock, and barrel forever. And so there are no in the industry of acting, even if you put on a hit show, there is no syndication money that comes at that golden pot of money at the end, that mailbox money that I love so much. We all want. So agents, according to this agent, began negotiating with deals with larger upfront payments to offset the lack of money on the back end. And that's what Andy Staples and this agent have advocated that the athletic directors do in universities is, okay, to get the lead actor that you want, who's the lead actor in this TV show we're doing with College Game Day and Big Noon Fox. And the best lead actor right now is probably Curt Cignetti at Indiana because he's come out of nowhere. But his first contract wasn't that high.
No.
What they're saying is you're going to have to pay these guys big dollars up front to get the lead actor.
Right.
But at the same time, they have to understand because, the agent can try to argue for backloaded money, but look, and an agent no longer can say with a straight face that a coach can't recruit unless he has 5 years remaining on his contract, because that used to be one of the bargaining chips. Well, I need an extension because I can't recruit the next batch of players because they want to make sure I'm there. So give me more money, give me more years. And that's how these things get so long. Well, in this day and age,
you don't have that time frame.
You're not stupid enough to believe that a coach and the players can move from place to place.
Right. That's on you to do that.
So if you're the lead actor, you could argue that, okay, other actors want to come play a part of it, be in this TV show.
Right.
Because everyone's watching it.
Yeah.
That's where I want to play. And this is where players want to go now. They want to go where the players are and where they're going to be on television and where they're going to make the most NIL. So it is again, all of this we have to make paradigm shifts and it's going to be uncomfortable. But ADs have to adjust contract lengths accordingly with the understanding that they're going to have to offer more up front to get the lead actor they want. And so let's just take Lane Kiffin as an example. Lane Kiffin could have any of these jobs, apparently, if he wants them. Well, then you're going to have to pay him a lot in the front and then not guarantee. This would go to Sark's point of, okay, you got to give me some security. So I'm going to need $15 or $20 million up front. I need a signing bonus, essentially. Yep. If you want me to be the lead actor of your TV show here and run your ship and bring in recruits and try to get this thing into the playoff and in contention for the playoff.
A good foundation to start
I'm going to need a signing bonus.
Yep.
And look, this is what the NFL does with player contracts now. The guaranteed money's up front. We know by the end of the third, fourth year of that contract on an annual basis as far as what they're making, it's not a lot. But you just have to shift the paradigm. And it can't be about, because in the NFL, to people who say these NFL contracts aren't that long, well, the lead actors in the NFL are the players. Because if you find your quarterback, he's the face of your franchise for the next 15 years if he stays healthy. And he's going to make a ton of money. Yeah. That's your lead actor. Lead actors in college football, as it's built, the business of college football, are the coaches. They're the rock stars. They're the ones that sell tickets. I mean, I know we all go to see the players, and they're finally getting their cut of the deal, which I'm all for. But that's a rotating – it used to be a 3 or 4 year, maybe even 5 year cycle of rotating job force and workforce. Now it's year to year. And so the only constant is going to be the coach. So you got to get the coach right, almost like quarterback in the NFL. You almost have to treat it like that this is the lead actor. In the NFL, the players are the show.
Yep.
The coaches are vitally important. But as far as what turns on TV sets and what brings the eyeballs and what creates the revenue and generates the business, it's the players. We tune in to see the players. And then we cuss the coaches when they lose, and we praise the coaches when they are, they win. But the players are what turns the TV set on. I would argue that right now college football coaches turn the TV on because they build their rosters annually. Curt Cignetti has a totally different roster this year than he had last year at Indiana, yet his team is still really good. They're actors. They're best. They're all like supporting actors, the players on the field, and we tune in to see them, but it'll be a whole new crop next year. And the quarterbacks are going to go all over the place, and who's going here. And that's why I would say this for Texas before we get to Horns at FS. If you have a lead actor like Sark, you don't want to lose him. Because whatever your issues are with Sark, he's a pretty good lead actor.
Yeah.
He's a pretty good tip of the face of the franchise. And I think that's the paradigm shift and the parallel you have to make to where consider the head coach in college football your quarterback. And in the NFL, if you have Peyton Manning or you have Tom Brady or you have to keep them at the top of the market. You just do. Where the NFL, kind of like college football, where the NFL gets in trouble, or the college football ranks get in trouble, where the NFL gets in trouble is when they overpay average quarterbacks and pay them elite money, and they're not elite, right? Tua Tagovailoa, Jacksonville's, Trevor Lawrence, they get these contracts that are commensurate with the best quarterbacks.
Yeah, their second contract,
but they're middle tier quarterbacks. They're kind of average lead actors, so they're not going to deliver the ratings you're looking for or the wins you want, but you're still paying them like they're a lead actor. That's the problem the NFL gets to. Colleges do the same thing. They get these coaches who they think can be elite, like Brian Kelly. They're not, yet they owe them way too much money.
Hugh Freeze.
So you just have to front load it.
Right.
You have to bite the bullet and
do
pay
it
the
now,
lead actor.
right, yeah.
But just like quarterbacks, as they go, you've eaten the guaranteed money, but then year by year the salary diminishes.
Right.
And by the end, it's affordable if you got to buy them out and get out of it. It's not. I don't know. There's got to be a shift. Credit to Andy Staples on 3 Sports because that's a way you could actually. But again, it's just how you have to position it. They're the quarterbacks of the program. Just like once you find a quarterback in the NFL, you keep them forever.
Yeah.
Because if you build a defense and put the right players around them, you can win. If you get the right lead actor and coach in college football right now, you've got a chance. Just ask Indiana, ask Vanderbilt, ask these teams who have found their coach.